the afternoon of January 21st, Congress goes back into session. And Mike Johnson proposes a resolution. There's a particular type of resolution that includes, that requires the consent of the Senate to participate in this. So it's called a concurrent resolution. So he puts forth a concurrent resolution saying that on January 22nd, the House of Representatives and the Senate are going to go into recess. And John Thune, not wanting to stick his neck out, doesn't say yes. Instead, he says, no, we don't agree to that. We'll take March 5th, or just, no, we don't agree to that. Under Article 2, Section 3 of the Constitution, a provision that has never, this particular provision has never been used before, if the House and Senate don't agree on a concurring resolution to go into recess, the president makes the decision and can force both of them into recess. So Trump comes in and he says, okay, John Thune is not agreeing with Mike Johnson. Mike Johnson put this resolution forward. Therefore, I am declaring that the House and Senate are in recess for the next, week. I think it has to be more than 3 days to satisfy the Supreme Court's requirement that they laid on Barack Obama. In 1 hour, basically, he recess appoints every single one of his cabinet members, the whole parade of horribles, and they're all legal now until January 21st of 2027. What do we do? By the way, we've got about 2 minutes here before we hit a hard break I can't control.
The first thing we would have to do is to recognize America's new reality, and the new reality that at a functional level, the republic, the one designed by Washington and Adams and Jefferson and Madison, will have fallen functionally.
Yeah.
And it will have fallen with a procedural vote and a parliamentary trick. And that will be it. We will have made it almost 250 years. And what Trump will then stand as is an American Caesar, unchecked, unbowed, unrestrained, above the law, with a compliant, capitulating media, and a feckless Congress, a fair number of goofball Democrats in gubernatorial offices, and we will be in big trouble. And at that point, there will have to be a movement of Americans that protest, that strike, that do everything they can to make it stop.
Do you really think, though, that a procedural move? Do you really think Do you really think that a procedural move in Congress is going to cause Americans to pour into the streets? I mean, typically strikes are led by unions. We're at 11% union density, unlike France, that's at 75%.
If what you're saying happens, if that happened, like you said, it happened just now, then we would be in the gravest American crisis.
I agree.
Since secession.
Yeah.
It would be monumental, and I would hope that there would be some score of millions of Americans that would resist by doing whatever is necessary, nonviolently, to stop it.
Yeah.
No.
No.
What would happen is the Americans would hit the streets. But then Trump would be able to get his dream, which is to be able to to declare an insurrection. And he can declare martial law. And this is where there will be inner disputes inside of police departments. And people who are running police departments no longer will have to abide by codes of conduct. Now they can fire people without worrying about the reason for the person being fired. You know how now you can say, I was discriminated against, or they didn't fire me properly because we're a unionized police force. Well, all that goes out of the window if Trump just tears the lid off of everything. This is dangerous because then you'll have only Trump loyalists in police departments nationwide. And now when these protests happen, they can treat them in the most inhumane manner possible because there will be no human rights laws or civil rights statutes to enforce with Trump controlling the courts all over this country. That is the danger. And this is why I say, if you are African American, this is a white man's world. This is his country. He came here and he took it by force. When they are fighting over their own future, don't you get involved in these marches, because you will be singled out, murdered, killed, tortured. There will be no one to rescue you, no one to help you, no one to stop them. This next period of turmoil is going to be worse than the 1960s. Mark my word. Just imagine everything that's been done the last 10 years or so to African Americans by law enforcement. Now, just what if that became an everyday, in your face, fuck you, this is the new reality. Now what? You're not only going to be tortured and killed, or tortured and beaten, or tortured and interrogated. Not only that, you're going to be given 25, 30 years in prison. Because even now, like I know a friend of mine, all he did was a police officer put his hand on his arm. You know how they do. They put their hands on your arm and whatever. The officer put his hand on his arm and he jerked his hand away. And he got charged and convicted with assault on a police officer. Now listen, he didn't go to prison, but it was a felony conviction. He's been walking around with a felony his whole life. What I'm saying is, this next phase of trouble will include the prison sentence. You'll now get the 3.5 years in prison. You now get the 5 years in prison. You'll have to do 3 years to get out. These are new standards. And by the way, all the prisons are full now. So now they can really act a fool now. Because now right now they're working people at McDonald's. I just saw a video here about a couple weeks ago where these inmates now, they're working them on McDonald's and Burger King. They're in prison, but they come out and they work, and then they go back to the prison, and they are just dogging them out in these fast food places, working them 7 days a week with no off days, just brutally working them for nothing. The wages they're getting is like ridiculous, $6 a day. All their wages are going towards the system of things. This is about to mutate into something far worse than that. Now imagine you're no longer at Burger King or McDonald's working. What if now we don't have enough illegal Hispanics or South Americans here? What if now your ass is mandated to work out in the fucking cabbage patch, out in these apple vineyards, out here picking blueberries in New Jersey, Ohio. I'm just talking about the places that I've seen where you'll have, almost the whole crew is Jamaican, or almost the whole crew is Hispanic. This is all over the country now. What if there are not enough people to do that? Now, guess what? Your ass is out there. But before you dismiss this, keep in mind, while some of y'all are focusing on, you're focusing on things that I are not important right now. I'm telling you the truth. Because if I was Trump, first he's going to, declare this mandatory recess and then appoint all his hooligans by force. The day after he does that, you know what he's going to do? Oh, excuse me, I'm not going to say what he's going to do. You know what I would do if I was him? I would walk right into that damn jail, get P. Diddy, tell them to cut all the goddamn cameras in the whole fucking jail, cut everything out so that you can have a private conversation with him and say, give me enough reasons, enough dirt on enough people so that I can release you. And you'll be looking up and P. Diddy will be leaving jail with a smile. His motherfucking ass will be getting on Air Force One, going to Mar-a-Lago or to the fucking White House, and all hell's gonna break loose everywhere. Everywhere. All these entertainers that were backing Kamala Harris and all these, from Oprah Winfrey to Beyonce, all these people, all hell will break loose like such we've never seen before ever. And don't put it past Trump to make a special trip to Bali to shut that fucking door. Because, you know, what's his name? I don't think his name went to Bali. Richard Simmons. What if they close that loophole? What if he goes and makes a deal with with Bali? He says, we need to make an arrangement that if we have people that are wanted here, we can extradite them to the United States in the event that there's a warrant for their arrest by our government. We want you to cooperate. Trump can make a deal with them that no way they're going to refuse. Trump is going to be the most powerful man on earth. And a lot of y'all are not even going to take any of this seriously. But I'm telling you, we are in a time where you have to ask yourself, if you were Trump, what would you do? If the whole system came after you, came after your money, came after your name, tried to take away your liberty and your freedom, what would you do? You know, it's just like the Bible says, he comes down with great fury because he knows his time is short. He knows he's only got 4 years to do whatever he can. He's going to be a monster. And I don't blame him. I didn't vote for him, but I do not blame him for the revenge and the rage that he's getting ready to unleash, because everything came after him and they lost. He won, and he has every right to get what he wants. And it sucks to be the people that, there's a lot of people that's going to be disappointed. They thought, oh, he was just going to come and just, lower the price on everything. I don't know. If you lower the price on meat, what's going to happen? So this is my advice. If you, this is not just for black, just for everybody. Now is the time to start secretly keeping to yourself. Don't tell anybody else. Go on Google and locate all of the regional meat markets in the areas where you live. Go to Google and find them. Walk in those meat markets and just see what they got going on. Because there's a time that's going to happen when all of these FDA regulations are reversed and our food is no longer, it's going to be, it's going to be like the Garden of Eden. You have the liberty to eat of all of the fruits and the trees in the garden. And God said, just don't eat of the fruit of the tree in the midst of the garden. For the day you shall eat thereof, thee shall die. It shall be the same way here. You will have the freedom, as they were talking about yesterday. You can go and buy the Fruit Loops. You can buy all this meat in the meat market. But also, if you have half of a brain, if you're looking around you, you can also go to the regional meat market 30, 50 miles outside of town in the middle of nowhere and get grass-fed, grass-finished beef and buy your meat at the local meat market that's safer and more healthy to eat. That's my little nugget of truth to those of you that are listening to the sound of my voice. Because what we're seeing today is nothing compared to what's coming in the future. And remember, we have all these tidal waves with these countries overseas. Now, I think they're going to do some downsizing. That's what I would do. Downsize. Just for a moment, put yourself in Trump's shoes. What would you do? What would you do if you didn't really like people that don't look like you? What would you do? So, and God knows I'm not telling you not to like Trump. He won. You know, there used to be a saying, give the devil his due, right? He won. You went. When the winner wins, you gotta say, hey, yes, you should pat him on the back. But just beware of the consequences of the man winning. There are fucking consequences that are coming. And it just behooves you to do everything to stay out of their way. When they have these protests talking about they're bringing the country back, they're not going to be as friendly to these protesters. Oh, it's going to be all over CNN and everything. But what if, I don't know if anybody remembers. I remember when 9/11 happened. I turned on the radio station, right? And none of the stations were working. There was only one person on every, no matter where you turned, there was only one person allowed to talk on all the radio stations. He was some right-wing guy. I don't even know his name to this day. I'd never heard of him. And all he talked was right-wing nonsense. It was the stupidest shit I ever heard. Now imagine, back then people weren't really talking about this Democrat-Republican shit. The feuding wasn't there like it is today. George Bush was in the White House, but people didn't just hate Democrats and hate Republicans. We didn't have all that shit going on, right? But this guy came with that kind of fucking hate. And I'd never heard that before. But he was on every single station. What if Trump takes control of the airways? Ask yourself. I just ask you. I was listening to the AM. I was, coming home from the doctor today, and I was listening to the local radio station, and they were talking about it's time to protect their children. They gave this fake story about a 10-year-old boy that was saying he couldn't believe that they were blaming white men for the problems in the world. He says he's just 10 years old. How can he? The things that they were saying were so outrageous. And I'm thinking, okay, this is where they're going. They are the victims now. Here we go again. The bully is now the victim all over again. So we got to be careful because when they start talking like this, just think, this is not a time for you to be protecting your neighbor. God bless everyone, the Hispanics, the Jews, the Russians, everybody that's here. God bless all of them. But the truth is, you need to be about me, myself, and I. If you're Russian, you need to be about the Russians. If you're Hispanic, you need to be about the Hispanics. If you black, you damn sure need to be about the fucking African Americans for sure. And if you're African, you motherfuckers better stick together like you've been doing. Because what's coming now is what they're trying to stir up is say, everybody help everybody. All the Americans are taking to the streets to take their country back. When you hear this kind of talk, don't fucking participate. Let the white folks get out there and take their own cut. They came here and took it. They fucked it all up with this fake Constitution, the fake Bill of Rights, for you, especially if you foreigners are listening. The Constitution reads, we the people, in order to form a more perfect union, to establish justice and to ensure domestic tranquility, to provide for the common defense and promote general welfare. Now, just think. When they said all men are created equal, they did not mean the slaves that were in the backyard. The people that wrote the Constitution had slaves. So when people start talking about an originalist concept of the U.S. Constitution, that's what they mean. What was the original intent of the Constitution? They did not intend for everyone to be created equal. They intended for themselves to be created equal in regards to them and their government and those motherfucking kings in England. Let's keep it 100 here. Their war was with France and England, and it had nothing to do with the slaves in the backyard. Later on, they started talking about, well, we did write it down, and they started, honoring court cases, the Supreme Court saying, yeah, the Negroes deserve equal rights too, and they're created equal and all this shit. That was not the original intent of the United States Constitution. So just keep that in mind. For real, for real. Anyway, those are my thoughts for the moment because I think this is a very serious thing here. Now, I'm going to say this. No, I shouldn't say it, man. Because I know, when you're African American and you've been here and you look at the history of this country, right? You know how our government deals with people that come against it. If it's more than they can tolerate, the only solution is somebody goes to sleep. I'm going to leave it at that. Because indulge yourself. Start looking at the history of the United States, look at the War of 1812, look at the Civil War. Just watch historical movies about the history of this country, slavery, the Reconstruction, the Jim Crow laws. Start looking up the real history, not the fake history. Start looking up the real documentaries that are free on you. They're just free. You can go on YouTube and look. Actually, you better start looking this stuff up before there comes a time when they sweep the internet where you can no longer even watch this stuff. Because if they're taking it out of books in schools, it's not a real large leap to say, hey, what if we scrub the internet from this stuff altogether? Well, you'll no longer be able to get actual history. Now, hold on. Just think for a minute. If they're willing to take it out of schools, which they're already doing, it's not much of a leap when, who was it? The guy over Facebook said, well, we're no longer going to support a candidate. They start saying they're no longer going to support a candidate. I don't know. It looks like they might be backpedaling a little bit, which means they no longer have to be sensitive or sensible and inclusive or tell the real history of things. They can say, well, we feel like it's unhealthy to talk about the bad things, history of this country. We don't think that's healthy for our children or our society or our communities as a whole. We think it's better we just talk about a better world and a better future for all. Let the strong survive. He that gets educated will be educated and will be all right. He that doesn't will die and wither away. Let the strong survive. Let the weak wither away. How about that? Could be. That could very well be their future. They are calling the general public useless eaters. Look it up. They're saying the regular person that goes to work every day, pays their rent, buys food to eat, and is entertaining themselves on social media are considered useless eaters. What if they want to get rid of them? I know this is far above, some people just think there's no way. There's no way. There's absolutely no way that America would allow this country to be that cruel to itself. I'm here to tell you they can absolutely be that cruel to itself. It's already been that cruel to itself, its citizens, its residents. It's not that difficult to figure out. There are people in our country that burn people alive, skin them, and leave them up on a pole for everyone to see. This is the history of this country. What is that one general? He waited until the Indians left I don't know what they were doing. They left their little village for a while. He went to their village while they were gone and dug up all their graves and put their bones out in the open, just scattered their bones. This is this is not fake history. This is the real history of this country. Start looking up how the West was won, or what's that other one? Those the men who built America. Start looking some of these documentaries up. What's his name? Lewis and Clark's expeditions. Somebody the kid. Not Billy the Kid. There's another one. What was his name? What's his name? What is it? What the fuck is his name? Kit somebody. There were some explorers who explored the western side of this country. There are some horrific fucking stories, bro, about how this country was born and how it evolved and shit. I'm talking about some horrific. No, they're not even taught in schools. But what if they would just wipe all that shit off the internet? Period. Kit Carson, the explorer, Kit Carson. But I'm saying there's, you don't watch this shit while it's available. Otherwise, their time will come when it won't be on the internet anymore, and you'll just say, "Oh, that can't possibly be true because I can't find it." So if you can't find it, you say, that's not true. That's a lie." And that's what they're doing now. They're swiping things off. Like when George Bush was drunk in the bleachers and stumbling down the bleachers in Russia the day he was visiting there, and Russia attacked the country of Georgia. Look that shit up. Look, you won't find it. You won't. I remember seeing it on YouTube. It just showed George Bush drunk. Putin had got him. He was drinking. Having a good time in Russia. He was stumbling down the bleachers, and that same day, Russia attacked the country of Georgia, and then Condoleezza got up the next day and said, "A new line will not be drawn." You need to go back and beg Condoleezza Rice to come back and give some sensibility. All this foreign relations talk that we're talking about here. Somebody that has some balls. Condoleezza Rice said, so Russia did invade Georgia, but then they did not draw a new line. So she, what she said came to pass. Good old Condoleezza Rice. Good old Condoleezza damn Rice. Nobody has balls like that anymore. And that's a woman. A very, 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 very smart and intelligent woman. But anyway, those are my thoughts for the moment. I just find if this happens like they're saying, they're suggesting Trump's appointments, nominations cannot be confirmed. So rather than going through that process and letting the country see all of the faults that his nominations have, so everyone will not see all of their flaws and shit, what they'll do is they'll just appoint them in recess by force. And then anyone that brings up all of their flaws publicly, they can sue them for defamation because they'll be running the Justice Department. They'll be in control of the courts. If Trump does this, it's not only brilliant, you have to ask yourself, if you were in his shoes, would you not fucking do the same? The biggest argument that true Democrats have had is that Republicans have been playing tackle football, and the Democrats have been running around playing flag football for decades. The Republicans are not playing. It's the Democrats that have been playing games. Oh, we just believe this one good time. We're all God's children, and we have all these civil rights and equal rights, and we are just a country, a nation of laws, all this bullshit. The Republicans aren't playing by the rules. Oh, I'll take that back. They're playing tackle football by the rules. And the Democrats are playing flag football. All right?